Well, you won't get a lemon from Toyota of Orange.
Wrestling buddies want to be your buddy.
Drug-free's the way to be.
What do you think you're doing?
Well, Miss Musso, we were just doing a promo.
Welcome to Home Wrestling League.
I am Penny Dreadful, joined by Drew No Gimmicks Needed Radley and Crystal the Casual at the Unicorn Soundboard. And this is Home Wrestling League. And it's been a quiet week in wrestling, guys. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I guess we'll muddle through. But today we have a special guest, Zak Kinsella. He's a cartoonist and illustrator extraordinaire. I also learned he's the host of 2 YouTube channels, Toy Art and Zak Kinsella for his art. If you go to his website, zakkinsella.com, and his Instagram @ZakKinsella, you'll see everything from Lion Cat as Dwight, which is really special, to tarot, to cryptids, and some amazing wrestling work, including Mariah May, Swerve, Rhea's probably my personal fave, Sammy Mercedes, Roddy Piper. So you're an old school head. Tell us, Zak, how'd you get into wrestling?
Oh man. First off, hi. So my father is the culprit and my uncles as well. So it's funny, like my dad, we grew up in the golden WrestleMania era. So the Hulk Hogan, Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, all that like 80s goodness, right? Mm-hmm. My uncles are from Texas, and I remember some of my earliest memories were them messing around with us and putting me in the figure 4 leg lock because they were big Ric Flair fans. So I got it, got it on both sides, Southern wrestling and New York as well. So that's how I got into it. Just thrown right in the deep end.
It's always dads and uncles that are involved somehow.
Oh,
absolutely. This seems to be kind of universal. Do you have any favorite wrestlers?
I think the GOAT for me will always be Eddie Guerrero.
Amen.
That was, top notch, but also like Jushin Thunder Liger. Just a huge fan of that. That is just a thing that is a perfect world of insanity just happened, and it birthed Jushin Thunder Liger. Mm-hmm. So I would say, really coming up in the Southern wrestling style, of course, those 4 horsemen times as well were big for me. But if I go a little bit more modern, I'm loving everything about like women's wrestling right now because I love Japanese women's wrestling. And just seeing like that crossover that's happening right now, but also folks like Willow Nightingale. She's become a big favorite of mine, and I love her. And also our friend Chelsea Green. Not gonna lie, been a fan of her since Lucha Underground.
Yes,
as Reclusa, she's amazing. So I feel like I'm all over the place, but that's just a quick summary of the rest.
No, not at all.
That match with Chelsea Green and Penta.
Yeah,
well, that was amazing when she was in Lucha Underground.
She took.
That's
some
one thing
bumps.
I do miss.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do miss is intergender wrestling. Like I know both of those major companies don't do it. But I keep saying on here, the moment somebody decides to do intergender wrestling in AEW, that woman's going to be the most over woman in the entire roster.
Yeah.
Easy.
Absolutely. 100%. I agree with that. Let's do it.
I love that she has occasionally been known as Chelsea Verde. That's funny. I'm sorry. That's cute.
It is perfect, great. Especially if you're in Mexico. You got to do it.
Yeah, you got to.
All right, we're going to move into our mid-card and talk NXTNA. I guess everyone believes in Joe Hendry. That song has been stuck in my head ever since, and I feel like it was a few weeks ago you showed it to me, Drew, and I was like, this is great. Is he playing real guitar? All right, this is good. And then, of course, we're seeing that huge battle royal, and just boom. He appears, and since then,
say his name and he will appear.
Boom! And then I love how he's got that fucking move just right. He's there, and everyone goes crazy. Camera shakes, and he hits it right there, and he's got that same face. I loved it. It's so fun.
He's such a guy who, because he used it back when I used to watch Ring of Honor a little bit, because he's had that theme song.
Really? Okay.
Years, and I'm like, this guy's funny, and I don't watch Impact as much, so I didn't know he was like a bigger deal. And then a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh, they're still talking about Joe Hendry. That's awesome. Like Penny, when you just said the camera shaked as soon as he came up, because like it's a big deal that he came, because he's such a guy who would fit in so well in WWE currently because he makes diss songs about the other person.
Yeah.
Like he will literally make a video. Like there's one about back when LaKnight was in Impact, when he was Eli Drake. There's a diss song about that. There's this song about Matt Cardona and Chelsea Verde. Like there's like he makes diss songs about different. There's a video even like I don't know if I'll find it and I'll put it in, but there's a video where he's on the Indies and he makes a song about Drew McIntyre back when he was Drew Galloway. And Drew McIntyre's, like you can see in the video, Drew McIntyre's trying not to laugh, but he wants to laugh so bad as he's watching this.
Okay, that tells me that he can play guitar, because if he's just making music about everybody else, that kind of feels like about what the other guy tried to do. The guy with the guitar. Now I can't remember his name. Who was the guy with the guitar?
Elias?
Yes, it kind of feel like that was what he was trying to do, but didn't do it as well.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool that they put him in a feud with is AJ something. It was Top Dollar, right? And
AJ Francis.
Yes. I think that was a perfect introduction for him, and just a perfect way to elevate Hendry's musical diss tracks. Basically, I was like, this is brilliant, and yeah, it's been a fun back and forth. I think that's over now, but like I said, like you said, Drew, I don't watch it as much as I should, but I catch clips when I can. I was like, let's check out what's going on here.
I think them having a partnership with TNA is definitely working, because as we've all said, we don't watch TNA as much, so we don't know exactly what's going on. But they're bringing them in and showing what they can do and what they've been doing over there. It's increasing that visibility for them. Frankie Kazarian was there too, and Joe Hendry unfortunately got kicked out right away, which everybody was mad about. But Frankie actually made it to the Final Four, so it kind of looked for a second as if some other guy who wasn't in the promotion would actually make it. We've seen a lot of that recently. Do you think we'll keep seeing it? Like, are they going to slow it down? Or are they going to make the spring clean more consistent?
It's probably a way to get everybody wrestling, because Tatum Paxley
challenged
for Jordan Grace's belt on TNA and lost. So I think it's just a way to get people more over. Like honestly, if Joe Hendry showed up at on SmackDown or Raw, we'll get into why he probably can't show up to Raw. But if he showed up on either one of those two shows, everybody would pop, because his gimmick is so WWE made that he will get over anywhere. Like a guy who comes out with that theme song, and then he's like, hey, imagine he'd be like, hey, John Cena, I made a video for you. And then that comes on, it would be the most watched video. Well, right now it's the second most watched video
of the week, right? Yeah.
They've had all year on WWE. So that tells you there's something there. Yeah. Because people who knew about Joe Hendry watched it, and then people who watched NXT and they're just like, this guy's interesting, and they kept watching it over again because the song is infectious.
Yes, a hell of an earworm. Who do you think else we might see from TNA make an appearance? At this point, I don't think the Hardys are likely, but it's not impossible because they've been there before. I would put both Gresh and Moose on my bingo card. If Mustafa Ali appeared, I would just implode.
Yeah, I think it would be cool to see Moose as well too. I'm trying to think of other people on their roster, because I was like, man, who else do they have right now that I'm familiar with, right? And but I was like, I've known Moose for years, and I was like, man, I'd like to see this dude pop in on WWE and see what where he would fit in, how he could flex in.
Yeah.
And just coming in with that TNA title, that especially that brand new design one, is such a cool belt. and just coming in and doing this, being that moose, man. Like it kind of reminds me, like, a little bit. He reminds me a little bit of Monty Brown in some ways, like with his charisma, but presence as well, right? And like, he came to WWE, and it was such a bummer that he had to leave, because I was like, dude, this guy is my guy, right? And a lot of it's the same with Moose. It was like, all right, man, maybe this is like round 2. Let's go, right? Like, let's get a TNA guy to really, get over there and bring more viewers into TNA as their champion. That's where I would love to see that.
Yeah. The last note I have about that title picture over on NXT, it was a little bit confusing for me for Javon to win that title, that Battle Royal, only to face Ethan again later that night, for Ethan to win and get up in Trick's face again. But that final 4 shot with Trick and Javon and Ethan and Shawn Spears, that was fantastic. I loved it.
Javon is like what, 19, 18?
Right, like really.
I mean, it's cool.
Age.
It's cool to see him, do well there, and like he has a presence about him. I mean, as long as you don't have to ask Kevin Scampoli about him, but like he'll, I think he'll be fine. There's a energy about him that's different. Like he's for people that are 18 to 20 years younger than us. Yeah. So like that's his market. So like when you see him and you're like, okay, the youths like him.
The youths.
It's him and what's his name? The one that we decided, Logan Paul, bred in the lab just to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
Those are the 2, I think.
It's like,
my God, that makes me want to think about like the pieces that would be put together in a lab, like the Powerpuff Girls. What 3 ingredients would make Logan Paul in a lab?
Right?
Oh gosh.
It's obviously showmanship. Guy's got it in spades. Like he has tons.
Yeah.
Probably a little crazy.
I was gonna say he's jerk seasoning in there without a doubt.
Yes, that too.
It's like charisma, showmanship, being kind of a piece of shit.
Yes.
Jerk.
Yes. White boy good looks. And you mix together the batter.
Now pops.
With a questionable online background. Mixed with chemical X.
It's crazy how, like, I know we just veered off into this, but it's insane to me how he has become so separate from that YouTube pranking YouTube thing he did. Like, it's almost like it doesn't exist anymore. He's done such a good job of integrating himself into wrestling. It's crazy. And he's good at PR. His people are good at PR. I don't know which one, but
his people are great at PR. Like,
that's got to be it. That's part of it. He's paying good people for that.
I think he got the same people who work with John Cena post Total Bellas.
Okay.
After,
yeah, no joke, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like John Cena's just like,
because everyone loves him now.
He's like, I am not a human person. Find me some people who will make me a human person.
Right. And they're like, you should do the show called Peacemaker, and everyone was happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And just
and 2 to 3 car commercials. Get your voice out.
Right. Yeah.
And Nikki Bella is just fucking seething. It's just like, oh, so I'm not good enough to marry.
Oh, Cena.
that is wild though, because I've seen that clip. I've never watched the whole thing, which we should do that at some point. Maybe just me and Penny. I don't know if Drew feels like
I'm going
doing
to, yes.
We should do that, and that should just be a whole separate thing where we break down episodes of Total Bellas, because I like reality TV because it's, fun and silly.
Yeah, of course.
And that would be probably hilarious.
Reality TV has so many like pro wrestling absurdity elements to it that I think we're already like
for sure. We're
tailored to a lot of it. Yeah.
They do kayfabe.
Yeah.
Reality TV is kayfabe. It's like we all know that now, because I know there was a period in our lives when it first started, we were like, oh, this is real. This is not.
When I was a child, for sure. Yeah.
No, right. When it first came out, like when it got big in the early 2000s, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like 2007, the writer strike really took off.
Yeah.
But now we all know, we're like, oh, okay, so these are all just people who are either trying to become famous or are semi-famous and want to parlay that into more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
But no, so it does fit in. So we should
Yeah.
do it one day. But yeah, John Cena,
Yeah.
Logan Paul. Someone to study them.
You guys want to touch on anything NXTNA before we go on?
I mean, that's the only thing going on. Like the story, like we could have the Latina off, but you know that story will work itself
The
out.
Latina off.
It will.
Oh boy.
The Latino.
It's just like one person is a short Latina, other person is a thick Latina. It's Cuban. Who's gonna win this?
All right, we're gonna move into Dynamite real quick. I was personally very happy about Pac picking up a win over Claudio, especially in the main event, because it's hard to beat Claudio. I can't even find who he's actually lost to. I don't think he's eaten a pin since he's gotten to AEW.
Claudio.
Oh,
he lost
yeah.
Swerve.
He lost to Swerve?
Yeah,
Champion.
that was-
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been booked like an animal since he got there, and rightly so. So for me, giving Pac the win over him in the Owen Hart Cup is so great, so important to Pac's push. And I love
Yes.
I adore him.
More Pac. Absolutely.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah. I would want him to win, but maybe not, because we'll get into later why maybe not. Stat over Nyla. I love Nyla. I love seeing her again on TV. I want her on TV every week if I can see it. I thought that was great work in playing off heel Stat. And I think for sure Stat is going to go far in the tournament, if not win it all together. And the Acclaimed over the Bucks. Okay. Always have a soft spot for the Acclaimed. Always. And I do fully believe in a win for any tag team over the Bucks right now to like build this division, because even though they have the titles and you know they're the heel bosses or whatever, they still have the opportunity to build up the division. I hate eliminator matches, always will, but they still make no sense to me. But at least this was a different use of it.
And like it's so weird because like I was just used to. I was like, oh, eliminator match. We know who's gonna win.
Right? Exactly.
For every one of them. Like, and then it was like, yeah, then they not only did they win, they won through the adversity of having their music cut off by Okada.
Yes.
National Treasure Okada.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yes.
I was just gonna say, it's just like 10 years ago, I was the most feared wrestler in the entire world. Now, I'm a comedy person.
Yes. Because when you're working with the Bucks, you got to do some comedy.
And it looks like he's having the time of his life doing it. I was like, okay, you kind of got into your like into some weird American comedy era. Cool, man. I mean, you've given me the best matches I've ever seen with Kenny Omega, so like do whatever you want, buddy.
Yeah.
You came out with a Buster Sword one time. I'm happy to let you do whatever you feel like.
I also kind of can't believe that this was the first time that Rush and MJF had a singles match, because to look at them with the chemistry that they had, you would have thought this was like the fourth, fifth go round. It was amazing.
Yeah, just a great solid opener. Like,
right? Give me more of those.
One of my things with Dynamite is like it drives me a little crazy because I like to like work on comic stuff while I'm watching wrestling, and like with Raw I can do that, with SmackDown I can do that. But on AEW, those matches are just like so intense in so many times that I'm just like, I can't focus on it. Like I can't make dinner during Dynamite. I was like, I'm gonna watch these awesome ass matches and live my best life.
Right.
It's like I understand that it's New Japan West, but there's sometimes you need storylines. Like, give me a storyline. Like.
Yeah, and I think they're getting better with that, but it's a little bit slower than I would like.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
like
they don't seem to quite commit to them. Or as soon as a match or 2 or 3 is done, then it just kind of goes away.
Right, like the whole MJF Rush thing was like, let's have like a little mini feud, and I was like, it's gonna be amazing. I was like, I don't really know why they're mad at each other. Like a little bit more. And I feel like we had some of that way back in the day, you know, just like people busting into their dressing rooms and being like, that would have been part of it. You know what I mean? Just like a little bit more for me to like sink my teeth into storyline wise. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
It has to be some form of bullying. Like
I just love the
That's how
busting into
all-
rooms thing. That's one of my
Oh.
favorite things with wrestling is the backstage nonsense.
Yes.
Where like they'll be talking to friends and all of a sudden like a door explodes and they're like, I'm gonna kill you. And I'm like, what's
Yes.
happening? It's
This
very
whole
soap opera.
it is, and the that's what I love about it too. Like
Yeah.
these last couple of weeks of Hook and Samoa Joe have been insanely entertaining with them
Right?
like running around and talking about like lacrosse and cheesesteaks, and then going in and knocking people's heads off with Shibata translating during the whole time. Like this is perfect.
Yeah.
Let's go
You're like,
bully people.
now this is
Hold the
wrestling.
camera.
Home the camera, and then they all they've all adopted Samoa Joe's walk away from the high spot
Yes.
in their matches.
That was on yesterday.
Thank
And Joe was
you.
like, "Hey." That was adorable. I loved it.
I think the one thing you had spoken about before this was Double J in the Owen Hart tournament, and that vignette was so fantastic because I remember very vividly
Same.
watching the night after on that Raw when Owen Hart
yes.
passed away,
Mhm.
and Jeff Jarrett just in a total mess, and I was like, I wouldn't be able to do this. Like, I have so much respect for you, and plus, I think Jeff Jarrett is just killing it right now.
Phenomenal.
He's
I love
always
his-
been good.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's always been
Like-
good. Like as much as people try to shit on him for the TNA stuff, and yeah, he did do crazy shit on TNA. He's always been good. Like, because you were talking about that promo, and you just think like, oh fuck, because if you know anything about Over the Edge 1999, when Owen Hart thing happened, the first thing that they cut to is Jeff and Deb,
yeah.
and you can see Jeff pace around in the background, just like, what the fuck? And like Deborah's trying not to cry on this promo, and they're just being professionals.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you see that vignette, you're just like, oh shit. Okay, I would like to see him go far in the tournament. I think he's facing the mystery opponent.
Yes. Wildcard.
It can't be Ospreay.
Nah.
It can't be Ospreay. Like, Ospreay can't win this. You can't win this match coming up. Like, it would make no sense for him to win the match.
Yeah.
With Swerve, because you've completely made Swerve look like a dork, and then if he comes into that tournament, like, what else are you going to give him? He's won two big like gauntlet matches, and he's going to win the Owen Hart. You're giving him too much, too early.
Way too much. Yeah, I hope he goes far and they don't do something like my wrestling brain's like, man, this would be a great time to bring back Miro. But I was like, I want someone that he can just like kind of, not so much like trash out, but have a great match with and then just proceed. Like, I don't know if I'd ever want him to like win the whole tournament or anything like that, but I was like, look, let's have him go far and run with that story and bring some sympathy to Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think the youths, because I always blame the youths for knowing jokes, but people were saying like the question, like, why would Jeff Jarrett be part of the tournament? And I was like, the question is, why the fuck not? Can you put some respect on Double J's name? Okay, he was out here in the streets doing this thing when you were all in diapers. Like, have some decorum. Okay, stop. Double J
bold
has been
enough
amazing.
to wear that ribbon shirt.
Exactly. Which everyone with taste, from Seth Rollins to who I don't know who else is still doing these days. Like, he has been in this and he still has a beautiful coif. Amazing. And in great shape and is running with all these young people. Like, no. Stay away. Stay away from Double J. I'll fight you.
Yeah, from Double J.
Yes.
I love it. Anytime I get to see Hechicero, my life is complete. That man is amazing.
Yeah.
So that main event was phenomenal, and I was just a little bit sad that like the Ultimo Guerrero match with Okada was just like just a little match.
Yeah.
Those are my only two gripes, really, or my only one gripe, I should say. But my only two things from Collision that I was just like, okay, cool.
Last thing I'd like to note there is that Willow advanced over Serena D faces Stat next. And so that's going to be interesting because Willow is technically the defending champ of that, if they want to call it defending champs. So that's going to be great. I don't know if they're doing it on. You know what? If they had brains, they put it on Dynamite next week. They should.
Yeah, and I think they are.
And they might as well just do this so they can get to what we're all getting to. It's going to be Mariah.
Yeah, more than likely.
Because they got to finish the All About Eve thread line, so it has to be Mariah.
Yeah, they got to get to that spot.
Just an aside, I am a huge Mariah mark, and you had mentioned that I did a piece for her, and she retweeted it out, and I was just like, I can rest now. It's all over.
It's all over. That's amazing. Like she saw it.
She saw it. Senpai noticed me. All those good things.
I noticed me. The ray of sunshine shone on me.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move into our top of the card, which is the WWE been real busy this week. Oh boy. They got me with Seth. 100% did not see it coming. And Drew told me about Seth being on, and I happen to be in the middle of something else at the moment. It's always when I'm like not posted up, sitting watching, when I get a surprise. Because Seth is one of my all-time faves. I think he's the best one out there right now. Like, argue with your mama. And when they said he'd be out, they said he'd be out 8-9 months, which at the time was just around Rumble. So I was like, okay, buddy, see what you Rumble. It's okay. And it just goes to show that when they want us to not know something, they can do it. They got dirt sheets for a reason. They can be quiet about a return or a big surprise when they want to be, because no one knew
Yeah.
anything.
I thoroughly
thing. Please go ahead.
I thoroughly believe now with Triple H being in charge, a lot of the talent directly text Triple H.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And then so that's how a lot of the shit does not get out the way. It used to.
Yeah.
Where with Vince, you had to go in front of a committee and be like, "Hey, I'm cleared," and
state your case.
And they're just like, "Well, we'll use you when we'll use you," and then the information just gets onto the dirt sheets, and you're like, "Oh, well, we know about that 3 weeks ago." So like something like this, you're like, genuine shock.
Genuine, yes.
Yeah, and it just reminds me of Cena pulling that return of that Rumble at Madison Square Garden that one year, and you're just like, dude, you've been out for 5 minutes. Like, what's going on here? Like, that's what I thought with Seth. I was just like, when someone's gone for a while, it's not that I'm tired of them. It's like my thoughts are like, cool, rest up, come back better. Like, I'm excited you're getting downtime. It's like when someone takes a leave at work.
Oh yeah.
Like, cool. Like, take care of your mental health. That's good. Awesome. Like, I think it's a good thing when people are gone for a little while, because like when they make that surprise return, man, that's one of my favorite parts of wrestling.
Yeah.
Next to the refs telling people to get out of here, and throwing people out, with surprise return. Those are the two favorite things in wrestling.
Yeah.
Refs getting involved is always hilarious.
Yeah.
That's always funny to me. We saw a show the other night where that ref got really involved.
Sinclair.
That was hilarious.
Oh my God. We were at an indie show the other night.
It was great.
And the opening match, I guess we missed some storytelling because guy dropped the title, and the ref named Sinclair was down, and apparently they had something going on. Sinclair pulled out a spear, man. We were all surprised. We were like, whoa, shit.
Whoa.
I got to pay attention every week now, apparently.
And he distinctly said, I've been waiting for this. I always wanted to do this. We were like,
yes.
What is happening? This is
what's
amazing.
going on?
It is Sinclair.
Yes,
that sounds awesome.
The whole crowd was chanting Sinclair's name.
Yeah. It was great.
Indie
Millennium Pro Wrestling.
Yes,
they do
was
out of Chatsworth. And so that show would probably got on their YouTube like in a couple days or so. Like, I'm gonna start watching that. It's pretty interesting.
No, I do. Honestly, we got a good pop song from the Frenchy dude. I forgot his name. Maximilian
Maximilian Montclair, who is both from Detroit.
Detroit,
Michigan. I was like, what the fuck? It was a great show.
Oh, it was fantastic. Yes, it was real fun.
Support your local wrestling.
Yes.
Support your local indies, guys.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. We have one called Lucha Libre and Laughs here.
Ooh.
And over the year. So they do it a little bit differently. They have two stand-up comics as their not only the announcers but the
That's brilliant.
play-by-play,
Oh,
which
that's
is great.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do a match, and then they have a stand-up comic do a set, and so forth and so on throughout the night, and just alternate. And I've seen so many good, like I've seen Keith Lee there. I've seen Orange Cassidy. I got to meet Minoru Suzuki there last time I was there, and I was just like, holy crap. And like tickets are like, oh, it's like $12.
What?
Like $13.
Oh,
and you're just
amazing.
like, let me buy two to support this. But they sell out all the time now. I got to meet Shotzi there a few years ago, and we're still homies.
Oh,
Yeah,
Pizza Cat.
Yeah.
Pizza
I bought a
Cat.
Pizza Cat pin from her and I did a drawing of her a little later, and she followed me. I was just like, what
Oh,
is this
man.
life? So
That's
cool.
so
Like,
crazy. I loved seeing her as Pizza Cat because we went to an indie thing like how long ago? How long ago did we go to that?
2017. It's the
2017, yeah.
It is the funniest thing because like in 2017 she's at an AWS event in Southgate in California.
Like a VFW hall or something? Is that or like a Legion, something like that?
Yeah. Cut to WrestleMania 39. She has a match, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
It's all
so
little places.
like Abaddon is Colorado local.
Oh, really?
And they're just like, it's been so cool seeing them on AEW. Like, one of the last shows before the pandemic, they worked a dark match, and then they got signed by AEW right then and there.
Oh,
and
cool.
It was such a cool moment to see that. I was like, yes.
Mm-hmm. They always had that gimmick with the makeup.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
excellent.
It's funny with Abaddon because they have the makeup and stuff, but they have an OnlyFans as well. So it's just like it's just like
multiple streams.
There's gonna be a lot of weird boners.
Yep. I can only imagine the DMs.
I mean, I love their gimmick because Abaddon means destruction or doom.
Oh, really?
That's what it means
perfect.
in apparently Hebrew term Abaddon, destruction or doom, and its Greek equivalent is Apollyon, meaning destroyer.
Oh, okay.
So is a place of destruction and apparently an angel of the abyss.
Oh, that's great.
That tracks for their look. I love it. But people are into all kinds of stuff online. So that does not shock me that the OnlyFans is popping because takes all types, man. That's all I'll say. Takes all kinds.
Real quick for Sheamus, if after all this time, please put the IC title on that man before he leaves. For God's sake, just give me a fucking. Can't believe that's been the only thing he hasn't held. Like, I'm enjoying Sammy's reign right now. He's doing fantastic. We love Sammy here. I don't know what's gonna happen with that title going forward. But please cut Sheamus a break, especially because he's been doing so great in this return since he's come back. Otis finally got tired of Chad's shit. And I think Chad paid for it immediately, but he finally put his hands on him.
He got out right.
Can we go back to Sheamus and the IC belt with Braun Breaker?
Braun, and I'm going to say this about Braun, that there's a lot of people right now who use the spear, Jay, Roman, Charlotte, all that. Right now, that spear belongs to Braun. That's him.
The fact that all that happened to get the storyline off with Joseph Goebbels and Sheamus, and so he set him up. It's like, I'm gonna fuck him up, and then you can see Braun is just like, okay, I'm gonna let you get a head start. The way that he ran around that ring to just spear him was incredible. He gave him a head start, and he still fucked him up.
Yes, because he's like
Sammy.
Goebbels is like, how am I gonna go? And Braun's like this, getting ready to go. Oh my God, beautiful work. They learned how to use cameras finally.
Right.
That angle
they got
fantastic.
out of that stale production, and it only makes the guy who does this. There's a guy on Twitter who makes this animations for people losing their Sonic rings when they get hit. In wrestling.
Yeah,
we do that here.
Yeah,
I love it. And just kind of running around. Oh, it's so fun. It's so good.
Yeah.
I love that intersection of games and wrestling.
Oh, wait a minute! Intersection!
There's a lot of places where we can go to. Do you think that Braun gets that title next? I don't know.
They're gonna have to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're talking about when they go to them, aka Netflix. When they go over there, they're going to try to push him. They're like, hey, look at this overly tan, muscular guy. Let's put him in, I don't know, Bridgerton or some shit. Like, if I saw Braun Breaker in Bridgerton, I would be like, this show's fucking incredible. Like, the amount of crossovers we can get is just like, they just CG in John Cena in Orange is the New Black for some reason. I don't know how. Fucking
more wrestlers in period.
Yeah.
Regency
Like,
Romance.
Forrest Gump
Wrestlers
style.
in Regency Romance.
why is Tegan Knox in Stranger Things? This is weird.
This is wild.
Oh boy.
But to go back to Otis, finally gets tired of him, puts hands on him, but he doesn't quite do as much as I want him to. He just kind of, pushed him down and said enough, and then kind of left with, his head held high or whatever. So it kind of still feels like a little bit of teasing, but finally that story broke. Finally, we got through it. And he decided he said, we're leaving. And he got away. So good for him.
Yeah, the payoff didn't quite match.
Yeah, it didn't quite hit. Yeah.
I mean, when we talk about the hillbilly murderers later, it really highlights the fact that they could have done so much more with that last pay-per-view. We were talking about it the other day. I was just like, now I just feel after watching that pay-per-view, we missed out on a lot.
Yeah, they should have done
They should have done either of those things there.
Yeah.
If they would have done that, it would have been more memorable. Now you did it on a show where you're supposed to leave with, like, oh man, I can't believe Otis is gone. Now you leave with Chad Gable's dead. Like, that's like, we'll get into it later.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they haven't quite gotten their sea legs down with like pacing in their long-term storytelling. They're like, we want to have like all of our stories go for a long term. Great, but not. It was kind of like Marvel back in the 2000s when they were like, every miniseries must be 6 issues. I'm like, why? This decompression storytelling is bloated.
Yeah,
and they're just like. And they got their sea legs with it after a few years, and they're like, okay, we don't have to have everything be this long. And so that's why I kind of feel like where WWE's in, where it's like, hey, like not every storyline needs to be 5 months, 6 months, that kind of thing. It's great to have long-term storytelling payoff. Like, I don't want to like poo-poo on that, but man, sometimes like when you catch lightning in a barrel, like barrel.
More lightning, the better.
Yeah, the more lightning, the better. Let's use it. Fry it up. Let's go.
To that, I think with Drew, or other Drew as we call him here, and Punk, that story kind of started at Rumble, and it's been 5 months already. So I think they can definitely keep it going to SummerSlam, and it seems like they fucking will. So right before Drew came out, I was making some notes, and I was thinking, real talk outside of kayfabe, like, I hope that he's not disappointed about the way WrestleMania, the Clash at the Castles went, because he's been doing fucking great work, and like memorability or impact is not always about titles. For example, Piper never had a title. Taker only 4 times. Like, it's not always about that. So I was like, I'm not sure. I hope he's not actually upset. And then immediately comes out and says, I quit. I was like, oh, okay, buddy. What the fuck is going on? And barely said a word and said, I quit, and walked out. I was like, Drew, buddy, come on. What's going on?
I think when I watched it, I was like, this isn't real, because it just reminded me a little bit of Mark Henry's turn on Cena. Like, I was like, and I was like, this is smart of Drew. Let's see where it goes.
Yes.
I thought it was going to last multiple weeks because his wife had emergency surgery. And the fact that they did this storyline has essentially been going back since the night CM Punk came back, because I saw those online videos where Drew McIntyre's fucking pissed, walking to the back, and then they had their tete-a-tete like a couple weeks after, and then they had the Royal Rumble thing, and in our last episode I did a quick history of it. So like it's been a very good storyline. Now it's kind of overshadowed the belt. So
yes, it doesn't need a title.
Sure. It does, exactly.
Oh no, I was like, I can't wait for this to turn into an incredibly underwhelming match. Like I just can't wait. Like I'm excited. This is an amazing storyline, and I'm like, man, this match is going to be so underwhelming when it actually happens. Ooh. Be prepared.
Do you think so? I think that. Oh well, huh? I guess I got to go back and look at that Rumble and feel how see how I felt about them, how they locked up. Interesting. It was kind of be like that Usos match. Great story going into, and the match was up.
You didn't like 17 super kicks? No, I'm serious. They did 17 super kicks. Like that's literally they counted, and it was 17 super kicks in that match.
I was honestly, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I was just kind of stunned that match was such a stinker after seeing all those amazing matches that the Usos have time over again with like the New Day, that kind of stuff. I was like, but now you guys are against each other. This should be cool. I was looking forward to it the most, and then like we got that match, and I was just like, wow. Like I really like when you were saying like this is going to be a disappointing outing. I'm like, yeah, I can definitely see that happening with Punk and Drew, but at the same time, I'm like, oh man, I hope not. But my reality alert kicks on, my spidey sense, right? And I'm like, I feel truth coming out of this man's mouth right now. Yes. Let it envelop the world.
Real quick, Liv and Dom continuing. Dom, leave the fucking vest. You don't need it that bad. Why? Just let her keep it. That was some cute camera work though, with the whole "you gotta take it off me" and whatever. And then Damien comes around the corner like, "Dom, what you doing?" Like, just leave the fucking. I'm sure you can replace it. Just leave it.
It's
just don't get my vest, man.
You know when they make that trope in TV shows where they say it's not what it looks like. That is the definition of that.
Yes.
Where it's just like he's pulling it down, and David comes around the corner, and you could be like, "It's not what it looks like." Yes. Like, it's just this storyline's hilarious because Liv Morgan, I forget, is the champion, and that's very Rhea Ripley of her. Where you're like, "Oh yeah, that's right, you are the champion. You don't defend it in your division at all." Like the only person that she could probably defend it against now, because they have like 2 weeks of story, is Selena Vega. Like, that's
right.
it.
It would build up to that. Yeah.
And it's just this storyline's so funny. It's just like, man, guys, one of us is gonna have to fuck Liv Morgan. I don't know who's gonna be. Somebody has to fuck her. I don't want to do this, but you know, if I have to do it, I'll take one for the team. Somebody in this room has to fuck Liv Morgan.
It's like the sexy soap opera version of getting rid of R-Truth from the Judgment Day.
Like they openly,
the Passions version.
They openly were just like, R-Truth, no, you can't hang out with us. But like as soon as you bring like a hot blonde around, it's just like, hey, don't go.
Like, guys, this is really tough.
It's just like, God, Finn is just like, oh, that part that made me laugh was when when Priest clocked that Finn took that key card from last week, and he was saying, I did it for us, I did it for Dom, so he wouldn't do that. And I'm like, yes, be a good friend. You stopped your friend from getting sexually harassed by this attractive blonde woman, and now you take the key card, and you probably went to the room and went to fuck her for your friend's honor. City boys up. Good
City boys up.
I'm still just astonished. I mean, it's the only way they could do this now in this day age, is that the woman is basically the Pepe Le Pew. You know what I mean? I've said that many a time. She's just like, you know, you know you love me, you know you want me, and he's that cat who's like, I have a stripe painted down me. What are you talking about? It is very funny though.
That stripe is a hot goth Australian girl.
Right.
That's her stripe.
Oh God.
She will eat you alive too when she comes back. So can we just
Ooh,
not?
man. Oh yeah. All right, you guys want to talk the end of Raw?
Yeah.
What else happened during that episode of Raw? Like,
well, I guess they've been hinting at some spoopy stuff for a time, and we were all scared that Jay was going to get it because you know the Fireflies have been collecting around Jay, but it's okay. It's all right. He qualified for Money in the Bank. He's my guy. That finished. He got his moment. Well, he still had about 5 or 6, 7 minutes to go before the end of the show, so you knew the shenanigans were going to shenan again. Lights out. So when lights out, when the lights are out in the fucking arena, something fun's going to happen. People have been waiting for this moment. And of course, real quick, I don't know how the production value works, but it seems like lights go out, they cut to the entrance, and then all this greenery, they make it work so quickly. And then they've got the smoke, and it's like, boom, we're in. Cinema. They got Nikki looking like Miss Mama from The Ring, crawling out. She comes up, stands up, looks real creepy, mask, points to the back, and craziness is back there. And interestingly enough, when we saw what Gorilla and everything looked like backstage before when Drew walked back, so we get to see what it looked like before, everything got busted out. And, we got the horror movie.
Yeah, that was a smart little turn. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, remember what it looked like an hour ago? Now look at this. We see a bunch of people busted out on the floor. Look here. I will say that the only one who they wanted us to for sure know and identify was Chad, because they took the moment to, show us that it was him, and his face was, he was sitting in a way that we could see it was definitely him with a GSW to the dome. That's not a gash. Come on.
Right.
And there's some other guy lying there with cornrows. And I was like, that's not Carmelo. Don't you think there's one other guy working for them that has cornrows? Just because it's cornrows, to make it Carmelo. Racist. And maybe some other people were like, that's Gunther. And I was like, you know what?
Gunther would not allow that shit.
Would not. Exactly. I feel like the only one they for sure wanted us to know was Chad.
Yeah, because everyone else was kind of just a production guy.
Yeah.
Looked like. Yeah.
Local.
They're at the wrong time, wrong place, wrong time.
Local talent, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Enhancement talent. Wrong place, wrong time. And we've got Uncle Howdy, guys, looking cool and creepy as shit.
A wild Uncle Howdy appears.
A wild Uncle Howdy appears.
I love that name because it's like, if you ever watch The Exorcist, you know what that's from.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, Howdy. Is it Uncle Howdy, or is it like Mr. Howdy or something in the movie? I'm like forgetting, but that's who's talking to her through the Ouija board. Captain Howdy.
Yeah.
Captain Howdy. That's who it is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like Uncle Howdy does the Bray Wyatt saunter out. This is all one camera shot,
right?
And it's just like like every time you see a oneer in WWE now, it's just such a Kevin Dunn, you sucked at your job.
All we could talk about is how bad he was, because it's so markedly different and amazing.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, we're not like resting on our laurels here anymore. We're trying new things, and it's dynamic. For a story and gimmick like this, you need something fresh to give not only the aura of Bray Wyatt, like the tribute that he deserves, but something that's, I think WWE has always done weird, spooky so well. It's something that should not fit into wrestling, but it is like 100% A game for WWE. And I love it. And I was like, I want more of it.
Wasn't the Ministry just like, and the Brood just like moment in time? Like,
oh my God.
Frozen in amber. Still watchable and good till this day.
Yeah, like, I still like geeked out at the Brood Bloodbath at whatever that AEW pay-per-view was.
Right?
When
Yeah.
Gangrel came back. I'm like, yeah, now we're talking.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I was
chunky
like,
and meaty blood.
exactly. I was like, I would not have had it on my card that the Brood would be on a wrestling show, at this point. I was like, oh my God. Yes. Now, who all is part of this thing because remember at the time I wasn't watching, so I don't know these people. Who are the characters?
When well, obviously the woman who comes out is Nikki Cross, and then it gets back to the Abaddon thing where if you've seen the timeline, as soon as Nikki Cross comes out, people are like, Nikki Cross don't look that bad. Like it's kind of doing it. Like,
it works, yeah.
Go girl.
Like go. And then it cuts to the back, and there's a guy carrying a mallet, which is part of the Bludgeon Brothers, who is Eric Rowan. Back in the day when they did the Bludgeon Brothers, he had the mallet.
Yeah.
And he's holding that mallet. So they go into the gorilla, and everybody's laid the fuck out, and there's a person standing on like a case that is Dexter Loomis.
Oh, okay. What's that character's name?
The one in the Wyatt Six. I think it's Mercy the Buzzard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, with the creepy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
it's, so the characters
release the
what
was the name? What was his motto? Not release the hound. No, I'm saying like was
release
it
the hounds?
Follow the buzzards.
Follow the buzzards.
Follow the buzzards.
That's
Right.
creepy. Oh god.
So yeah, that's Mercy the Buzzard, and Nikki Cross is Abby the Witch or Sister Abigail. That's in parentheses.
Yeah, that's my next question. Like, I was reading up about Sister Abigail, and it's a long history, right? And there was a WWE writer named Kevin Eck who was interviewed about, her and the Wyatt story about 7 years ago. And he said that we'll probably never see her as a physical character, but now here we are on this other place doing a new thing with Gray's vision. So could Nikki be playing her? What do you guys think?
I mean, like what Crystal said, I think that is supposed to be of Sister Abigail.
Yeah, that's who she. Yeah, that's according to SportingNews.com. That is who she is. Yeah, she is Abby the Witch, which is basically Sister Abigail. So maybe they did a little retooling to make her work as a physical character.
Okay.
Yeah, because like if you watch the Firefly Funhouse, most of the people are there.
Right. Yeah.
Once we get from the backstage area, we cut to right before you get into Gorilla, and then you see Joe Gacy with the pig mask and holding.
He is Huskus the pig boy.
Huskus the pig.
Huskus the pig boy.
And then
sounds like a freak show character, to be honest.
You see Chad Gable murdered, which is hilarious because they're like, "Hey, he's cleared to wrestle next week," and I'm like, "God damn, John Cena!" Like Zach said earlier, John Cena had tore his tricep doing a move with Mr. Kennedy, and then 3 months later he showed up to the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
Chad Gable gets murdered, and then he's back a week later. I don't want to hear any bullshit about anyone else. That motherfucker is committed.
Did you see Karrion Kross's tweet about this?
No.
Oh, really? What is
there was some guy saying there's no his character is dead. He's gonna come back as something new, and Karrion Kross is like, dude, he'll be back next week. And the guy's like, no, his character is great. Who was like, no, dude, Karrion Kross is. I've seen him at training in the morning. He's coming back. And I was like, why can't I get humorous Karrion Kross on Raw? This guy's a gas. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
Come on.
Zach is right. There, when you watch, I want to say the Sheamus workout videos. Oh, it came Karrion Kross and Scarlett, and he's doing an amazing Jesse the Body Ventura rep. And you're like, get that guy's personality on screen because he could get over. You're making him I'm insane and I control everything. We go from a dead Chad Gable to Uncle Howdy sauntering to the ring, and he's carrying all the people behind them. And then they all come out and they're in front of everybody, and then he does the "we're here" and blows out the candle like his brother. So it's really cool to see that. And now they've changed it to the Wyatt Six. The Wyatt Sits.
Yeah.
Because everyone thought it was going to be 6 people, but I said in the text message, I was just like, I think they're not calling it the Wyatt Six because the 6th person is Bray.
Oh, okay.
And if they ever wanted to add a sixth person, it would be Alexa. Yeah, I think
that's a lot of the articles online were about, like, where is she? Like, where would that be? Because I was reading up on this right now. So apparently, you guys can confirm this because I know you all know. His brother used to wear these two gloves, hurt heel. The guy, when he came out, he's only wearing the hurt glove, and that's his actual brother in real life. And I was like, oh, that's really sad and touching, actually.
Man, shout out
Because
to
it was his
Bo Dallas.
whole Bo Dallas, yeah. That's really crazy. Like you said, this is really interesting just for me because, like, you know, as the casual of the group, I'm seeing all this real life stuff being like blended in with like the storytelling, you know, in the wrestling. It's really cool.
Yeah.
That's when it's great, honestly, is when you get that, like, just that right taste of reality.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need everything to be like real and dark and gritty. Like, I was like, I'll watch CSI if I want that, right? Like, I want goofiness in my wrestling. I want like reality. I want the whole. It's just like getting a giant like hot dog in Chicago. It's like, give me all the peppers, give me all the onions, give me the mustard,
everything.
Like, put some sauce on it, like all the ingredients to make what wrestling great.
Yeah.
And so they come out to Corpus Christi, and everybody's just like, "This is awesome." And this further makes me mad about how the pay-per-view event went, because you could have potentially done that instead of people sending home people pissed. They could have, you know, Drew McIntyre could have just went to the back, and then you don't see him for like a second, and then he could have just been knocked out by the Wyatt Six or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But they chose to do that in Corpus Christi. And what happens next after you fucking murder somebody on TV or murder a bunch of people on TV? You go to Whataburger and you take a picture with a fan.
Saw that. Whataburger is where magic happens. Let's just be clear on that. As a former Texan, I can attest to that.
There are hamburgers, and then there are hamburgers, like the kind you get at Whataburger. Fresh as it can be. It's more than a hamburger. It's a hamburger. And at Whataburger, well, you never pay extra for lettuce and tomato. That's why hamburgers go by lots of names. But there's only one way to describe a hamburger, and that's a Whataburger.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I like what you said, is like they could have given us a preview at the pay-per-view, because it's like back in the day when comics, new characters would debut, they'd be on like the last page of that last comic, and then like the next comic would be like their official debut, and it's just enough to be like, hey, keep me hanging on for the next episode, right? And so that's where I was like, yeah, we like they've been doing these vignettes for like a month or two live, and I was like, yeah, well, give us a little bit more, like it's like a present on Christmas Eve as opposed to like all your presents on Christmas Day, right? So if that's your thing, so
gotta whet the appetite.
You gotta whet the appetite. Yeah, you'd be like, okay, I got a little bit tonight, but I'm getting the main event tomorrow, and I'm really curious with this because I was like watching it and I'm like, I don't know how I really feel about it yet. Like I said, I love the spooky stuff. I've already talked about that already, but I'm like, all right, we've had them debut and they unalived a bunch of people apparently, right? Like, where are we going next with this? And that's really a good question to ask. And I think it's a good problem to have. I just really I think we all have Vince McMahon shell shocked from booking stuff like this. And you're just like, oh God. But I was like, I don't have to worry about that anymore. And you're still kind of like, but do I? No, you don't. It's okay.
How can John Cena ruin these guys? Let's think about
the spooky nexus. What's going to happen to them, right?
The spooky nexus.
That's exactly who they are.
All right, you guys ready to get into SmackDown?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Look, I know that Punk talks a real big game to everywhere he goes, but it's just me, or is he worse in Chicago? Like, is he worse in Chicago?
Oh yeah, he's like he's like gone
11.
Super Saiyan at that point, right? The one with the, not just the regular Super Saiyan, the one with the earrings and all that. You know.
Oh, is it when they turn blonde?
Yeah.
And it's like even more insane.
Long hair, and they're just unnecessary. I just feel like when he came out, I'm like, that makes sense. And I just like that now where people have different storylines and they can merge into other storylines
Yes.
come out, where it was very regimented, where it's just like, no, you stay in the storyline, you don't go anywhere past that.
Yeah.
And that's how it felt for a long time. And so
Yeah.
seeing him come out, talk cash shit, and then Paul Heyman was just like, "Oh my god, I miss you, brother. Hey, take me with you." And the weekend
That was great.
The weekend came out with numerous Samoans, and they were just like, "Hey,
Numerous Samoans, I'm sorry.
it's like I'm not gonna know all their names. I'm just gonna call them numerous Samoans."
I call them all Samoans, yeah. Like what didn't work on KO is gonna work on Punk.
Yeah, the Roadie Coaster comes out with baseball bats, and I'm like, he's so old school, but he's new school at the same time because he still has the three-piece suit on. Well, he has the waistcoat and the slacks on with the dress shirt, carrying around a baseball bat. And I'm like, that is crazy. I love Caucasian African American superstar Cody Rhodes.
Like he went a little Goodfellas there, and you're like, okay, yeah, all right.
It's just like that is such a hilarious response. Like, you got beat up, you got jumped by 2 or 3 guys. What do you bring? Bring a fucking baseball bat. You're like, wait, no,
don't. You got to bring a bat to a fists party. You know what I mean? Like you got to even the score.
Even the score.
And so that was cool. And Penny, I think you're going to lead into
yes. Yeah. So Punk's segment ends, right? And Wild Samoans are all gone. And I figured that's the end of that because it's what we've been seeing the last 5 months or so. Either one of them will appear, cut a wild promo, and then they'll miss the other one. So I figured that's it. And maybe we won't see other Drew this week. But this time, and it's interesting what you said about other people's stories like converging, because at the time, Kayla, who's leaving, was talking with DIY and Grayson Waller, and you hear this bang, bang, bang because they're right in front of the thing. Comes up, and there's Punk laid out. I've never seen him more laid out, bleeding from the mouth.
One shot.
And Drew standing over him, and I'm like, oh shit. Did not see that
reveal
coming.
Was cool.
Right?
That was a cool reveal.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And then he lifts him up and walks him to the ring all in one shot. You see Apollo Crews and fucking Baron Corbin like, oh fuck. And then you see Candice LeRae and Indy are just like, Jesus Christ. Walks him out to the ring, drops him, and I'm like, part of me is just like, I wonder if CM Punk was okay with him dropping him like that. Because we all know this motherfucker is surly as fuck.
Yes.
This man literally has left a wrestling promotion in the dirt because of how surly he is.
Yes.
So, like, I wonder if CM Punk liked the whole getting dropped like that. And then he's like, Drew McIntyre doesn't say anything. He takes his bracelet that he's been talking about, that one with about Larry and his wife, puts it in his pocket, and then is walking away. Nick Aldis comes in, pushes Drew, and I'm like, man, you never really see that from authority figures where they just get mad at a person who pushes them, and then Drew pushes him back, and obviously Drew's push is different from Nick Aldis' push, because Nick Aldis was like, hey, get away from him, and Drew's just like, fuck you, and you can see him fling like 5 or 6 steps back.
Right? Yeah. I think it says a lot. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I like that the authority figures are former wrestlers and that they they don't just get like bodied every time by a 1 or 2-handed push. They go back, but they're like, yeah, I'm a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, so maybe don't do this, or I will just gouge your eyes out. Not that extreme, but
The only person that could give authority figures a hard time is Chelsea Green. And that's the funniest thing about both shows. This is like, man, she's so fucking annoying. You take her.
Yes. So good.
I think it says a lot that both Drew and Punk are willing to like take the hit or look bad on their home turf and also be willing to be the monster heel on the other guy's home turf, like in a big way. You know what I mean? It shows that they're willing, because he maybe he got dumped, but he also got carried like a baby, or like a is that a fireman's carry? I don't know. Whatever.
Fireman's carry, yeah, it's that one over the shoulders. Yeah,
got carried, and he's lived the whole time. He's let himself be carried like all the way out. Maybe he could be mad about the way he was done, but he was on board with the whole thing, which I think says a lot. I think it's fucking awesome.
It's like we will hear about it in a couple months in an interview. It's it's like, yeah, Drew McIntyre fucking dumped me on his head, piece of shit, idiot. Like, what the? It's like when you look in the dictionary and see Surly, you see a picture of CM Punk eating a bunch of baked goods.
Yeah,
and talking about Hangman Page. It's like right there. That's the definition. Right there.
The only thing that comes to my mind is when in The Simpsons, when they go to Duff World and there's a Surly character.
I was just thinking that too.
Someone should make that like as a shirt or something, where it's CM Punk's face in the Surly costume.
Oh, you just gave. Yeah, I'm. Maybe I might do that. Yeah. Maybe I might.
That would be hilarious. It's just who he is. He's a cantankerous old man, even though he's not old. I think he's my age.
He's my age, yeah. Like I met him, and
that's cool.
We had a great time at C2E2. He took one of my comics, and yeah. Anyways,
that's cool.
So I have nothing bad to say about him, but that's a pretty fucking funny idea. Honestly,
I'm sorry, it just popped in because I was like, Surly the bottle, his face, the costume.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite episodes.
So the main event ended up being Solo and Cody. Look, I'm just never gonna care very much about watching solo matches. And actually, at that point, we were getting ready to go to the indie show, so I had it on my phone because I was like, I don't really care about this match, but I want to see if the Wyatt Six appear on SmackDown too, because I think ultimately they should appear. But I was like, I'm gonna watch and see what happens. What I got instead was another Samoan. The one we were all waiting for, obviously. I've been hearing about Jacob Fatu for months now, it feels like. Even before Tamatanga.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
What were you saying?
I was just saying, arguably though, the best Samoa. If you've never seen his work on that indie scene or New Japan, that man is, they call him the Samoan werewolf. And first off, I love that name. And just how, like, I'd read rumors like, oh, we're scared he's gonna overshadow Solo. I was like, yeah, Solo's gonna do it.
Instantaneously.
And I'm here for it, and we need this because I was like, like Solo just doesn't do it. It's like, man, if you went to and watched Superman 2, and he beat up those three fools, right? And then like the next movie is just about the guy that can't talk being the main villain, and you're like, what? Like Solo just needs more time to marinate, I feel like.
Yeah, so I think so.
That's just, I don't dislike him or anything like that. I just was like, I see where they want to go with this storyline, and I'm like, it'll be good when it gets there, but it's like, oh god, it's like you're cooking a meal and you know it's going to taste great, but you still have to chop onions. And damn it all, I have to chop onions. And we're in the chopping onions phase right now. Yes,
that's very true. Yeah. They want us to keep believing that he's, this great thing. And when he first debuted, he had them winning all these matches to build them up. And I was like, I don't believe that he would win that match. I don't really think it's like there. And I guess what some people think is that like each of the Samoans that have like debuted, they debuted really strong, but then they kind of tapered off a little bit. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen with Jake? Yes. God. I thought he could talk. Put a mic in his hands. What the hell? Why does Solo have to be the mouthpiece? It's annoying. He shouldn't be.
You're gonna get some good, strong matches with Fatu, and I was like, I'm really looking forward to ones with like Owens, like the three guys they had in there, especially like Owens. I think him and Jacob are gonna have some teardown matches.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, give me that. Give me this, because like, there's a difference between putting in two like big meaty guys into the ring and they just kind of like beef it out, and then there's like two big meaty guys that can really go at like all different levels and beat the crap out of each other. And so that, and I think we're on that spectrum with those two, rather than seeing like Otis and Bronson Reed. I was like, that's meat slapping, which is fine, but it's not like something I'm like, yeah, let's dig in, boys. Here we go. Meat's on the menu, right?
Meat madness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing that's really funny is he basically overtook Solo in just that instant, because he's such a charismatic person that you watch it and you're like, oh yeah, no, I'm more interested in this guy than this weekend cosplay person. And I'm watching it, I'm just like, yeah, I'm more interested. Like, he takes out all of those guys instantaneously. You are right, Zach. He takes them out so easy. And then now you're supposed to be like, yeah, he's falling in line with Solo. It's like, fuck that. He is the bloodline.
Yeah, exactly.
And to top it all off, like, Jacob Fatu is 32 years old and he has 7 kids. So he's going to wrestle for a long time to feed those 7 kids.
That's a lot of kids.
I didn't know he had 7 kids. Yeah.
That's many children. That is many children.
Yes.
The last time I checked stats on kids, I think it's at least $18,000 a year or something easy for each kid, something like that. Woo!
Yeah, like,
the bloodline's never going to end, you guys.
No, I was just looking it up on Wikipedia. That's crazy. They have a whole tree dedicated to the Anoa'i, something like that. Family. That's bonkers. I did not know that Naomi was married into that.
She's married to Jimmy. Goodness. Yeah.
If you watch Total Divas, you see.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
That should be fun.
Like, because now I want to go back and being like, I want to look at that family tree that The Rock made us watch.
Right.
That was the first time we should have known he was a heel. It was just like, look at my 23andMe.
Check this out, guys.
Gaze upon my pedigree.
Yes.
Yes.
No, that's what those are for people. They're just, it's like your pedigree papers, like you're a show dog. That's what they are. You can prove to people, see, I told you this is there. Check this out.
Two men 60 years ago did a blood handshake, and now check out my 23andMe.
It's a dynasty for sure, because like you said, numerous Samoans.
Numerous wrestling. Zach, tell everyone when they can find you and your work.
So if you look for at Zak Kinsella, Kinsella, because it's a weird Scottish name to pronounce. You can find me on Instagrams, Twitters, Blue Skies, YouTubes, all those things.
Okay.
And find me drawing everywhere and anywhere in that realm. And then ZakKinsella.com has all my artwork.
Yes. And you're taking commissions now, right?
I am. Yeah, I opened it up. My cat had some health issues, and my car had some health issues, and yeah, we're looking to pay for that.
Okay. All right.
Life in a little bit.
Yes. Life be life in.
Indeed.
All right. But for us, you can follow us on the social medias at YouTube at Home Wrestling League, our Twitter at @the_HWL, and our Instagram at home_wrestling_league. Actually, I just got on Threads, so it's the same one there. Follow us there. We need some more followers there. If you're listening on Spotify, check out the poll in the Q&A and give us some ratings, some stars if you like us. And you know how it works here at Home Wrestling League. We're here, and we're just here, and then we leave.